Hello dear students of third prep science. For general revision today we have to review about science. We have to review today as we have first and second term. In this episode we have different kinds of questions about the first term and second term at the same time. But we have to start with some questions from first term, then we will going through the second term questions. Let's go to start with the first type of questions in this episode. We have, as we see here, dear students, general review. Number 1, cars and planes are provided with a speedometer. Cars and planes are provided with a speedometer. We should know what is meant by speedometer. Speedometer, which means what? العداد بتاع السرعة. So we have to answer according to the function of what? Of the speedometer. So here the answer is to measure the speed directly. To measure the speed directly. عشان نقدر نقيس السرعة بطريقة مباشرة. To measure the speed directly. Next question. Give reason for. We say that an object move with regular speed. So we have the key of the answer inside the question as we have here to talk about regular speed. سرعة منتظمة. So we have to define here the regular speed. So the definition of regular speed is what? Because they cover equal distances in equal intervals of what? Of times. Again, because they cover equal distances in equal intervals of time, of times. We can say in equal periods of time, the same. So we define what in this question? We define this, the definition of what? Of regular speed. Third question is what? It is hard to measure the regular speed of the car practically. Again, it is hard to measure the regular speed of the car practically. طبعا ما نقدرش نحسب regular speed or uniform speed سرعة منتظمة of the car or boat or rocket or aeroplane practically. من الصعب عمليا ان احنا نقدر نقيس سرعة منتظمة لأي body, especially car, plane, train. Why? Because here we have we depend on what? The traffic or the conditions of the traffic. أحوال الطريق. يبقى due to the motion of traffic. على حسب حركة المرور أو الطريق. So here we can't measure the speed of the regular speed, especially of the car practically. So we have here factor affect the regular speed of the car as we have the traffic motion. Okay. As we see, dear students, in these questions, زي ما شفنا في الأسئلة اللي فاتت دي كلها, we have to know, زي ما احنا عارفين, the answer of the question inside the answer of the question inside the question. We have the key of the answer inside the question. عندنا مفتاح الإجابة جوه السؤال. If we have to talk about regular speed or uniform speed, if we have to talk about the function or the importance of speedometer, so if we read the question slowly and we read it more than one time, we can discover the answer inside the question. الإجابة جوه السؤال. Okay? So we have to read the question more than one time. نقدر نقرأ أكتر من مرة. Then we can discover the answer inside the question. Okay? Let's go to complete this kinds of questions, and we have another question here. As we have, physicists use the mathematical relation like graphs and tables. Physicists use mathematical relations like graphs and tables. يعني ليه هم بيستخدموا الجرافس الرسم البياني زي ما بنسميه بالعربي graphs and tables جداول as a physicist اللي هو عالم الفيزيكس يعني. Why? We have many reasons here. Number one, indicate the relation between the physical quantities. عشان اقدر اعرف relation as directly proportional or inversely proportional. Number one, to indicate the relation between the physical quantities. Number two, to describe the physical quantities in easy way. عشان اقدر اكتشف ال physical quantities in easy way and the relation between the physical quantities as the relation between distance and time to find the speed as the relation between speed and time to find the acceleration. So here we use what? Here, dear students, we use graphs, we use tables. Why? To indicate عشان نقدر نحدد the relation between physical quantities, and number two, to describe what the physical quantities in easy way عشان اقدر اكتشف ال physical quantities بطريقة سهلة. Question number 5. When the driver used the car brakes, we say that is a decelerating motion. Can we find the answer from the question? نقدر نلاقي الإجابة من جوه السؤال. It's very easy to find the answer from the question, dear students, as we have here what word as decelerating motion or decreasing acceleration. So we can answer according to the definition of decelerating motion. As we have here to answer why. طبعا definition احنا المفروض مذاكرينه وعارفينه. Why? Because the speed decreases through the time. Or we can answer by another way as we have final speed v2 less than initial speed v1. We have here two answers. We can say because the speed decreases through time unit. First answer. And we have another answer. أقول له because final speed v2 less than أقل من initial speed v1 or initial speed greater than final speed. طبعا أكيد we use the car brakes يعني الفرامل هنا اهوت. So here we can say the speed decreases السرعة بتقل through time unit يعني final speed السرعة الأخيرة أقل أو less than initial speed اللي هي السرعة الابتدائية أو السرعة الأولانية للكار. Number 6. The body which moves with acceleration never moves at regular speed أو regular motion. خلي بالنا قال إيه؟ The body which moves with acceleration never moves at regular motion. عمره ما يتحرك بريجولار motion or regular speed. مش هيتحرك بسرعة منتظمة. We know what is meant by acceleration here. نقدر نعرف what is meant by acceleration. Acceleration as a definition a change in speed through time unit. السرعة بتتغير. Maybe increase as increasing acceleration if the speed increases through time unit, or maybe the speed decreases through time unit as decelerating motion. So here we can define or we use the definition of acceleration to answer this question, because the body which moves with acceleration never moves at regular speed. We can answer, dear students, by what? أقول له طبعا because the body's speed changes through time unit أو through the time. يعني السرعة بتتغير. Acceleration, which means what? Here, which means the speed decreases or increases. عشان كده قلت له ريحت دماغي وقلت له ايه؟ The speed change through time أو through time unit. السرعة اتغيرت. Okay. Next one. Number 7, as we see here, dear students, we have It said that the body moves with uniform acceleration. How can we answer this question? We talk about uniform acceleration. Yes. So we define what? Yes, we define uniform acceleration, and we can answer this question. What is meant by, yes, uniform acceleration, as we have here, because the body's speed change. واحد بيقول لي صح، طب ما هو acceleration يعني speed change، السرعة بتتغير with equal values. Why we use equal values here? Because we talk about what? Uniform acceleration. So the body's speed changes with equal values through an equal intervals of time. يبقى we have two parts here. Number one, we talk about acceleration. The body's speed changes, and at the same time equal values through unequal intervals or periods of time. So we use the definition of uniform acceleration. Number 8, speed time graphs. خلي بالنا قال ايه؟ speed time graphs. يبقى we have here speed time، السرعة والزمن، graphs اللي هو الرسم البياني طبعا، for an object which moves with uniform speed is a straight line parallel to the time axis. Why we talk about uniform speed and speed time? We can answer with more than one way. نقدر نجاوب بأكتر من طريقة. يعني هو يقصد كده في الكويستشن ان the graph أو graph of speed time is straight line parallel to the time axis. Here we have speed S or V. Here we have time T, and we have a straight line parallel to the time axis. Why? هقول له ليه طبعا؟ هقول له because. Yes, we can answer dear students like that. نشيلها كده ونقول الانسر بتاعتنا بقى. اقول له because speed doesn't change. السرعة ما اتغيرتش. Speed doesn't change. Maybe some students can answer according to the speed or the uniform speed because the body covered equal distances at equal intervals of time. صح؟ مش غلط. But at the same time we talk about speed time graph. So we talk about acceleration. A graph of speed and time is the graph of acceleration. صح؟ أقول له تمام. So here the speed doesn't change. So acceleration equals 0. No acceleration. السرعة ما اتغيرتش يبقى no acceleration. Okay? Number 9. Mass and time are scalar physical quantities. Mass and time are scalar physical quantities. So we can find the answer from what here? From scalar. What is meant by scalar physical quantities? We know the definition of scalar physical quantities as, yes, we can identify these quantities by using what? So here, because they identify with magnitude only. As we have here, for example, لو أنا خدتها كده example ليا، هقول له for example 5 kilogram. So we need just magnitude, قيمة. Time, we can say 3 seconds. So we need magnitude only. لو anybody say I cover this distance within 3 seconds، مشيت المسافة دي في 3 ثواني، I know 3 seconds mean or the meaning of 3 seconds here as time. If we have to buy مثلا 5 kilograms of orange fruits we know we talk about mass. So they identify with magnitude only. As we see here, dear students, زي ما شفنا في ال questions اللي قدامنا هنا هوت, we have to identify the answer from أو inside the question. يعني احنا عرفناها من جوه السؤال as uniform speed, as uniform acceleration, or as scalar physical quantities, the function of speedometer, and so on. If we read the question more than one time slowly, we can find the answer inside the question. نقدر نلاقي الإجابة جوه السؤال by easy way. طبعا we should study hard, we should study well. لازم نذاكر كويس عشان اللي مذاكر كويس هيقدر يعرف الانسرز بسهولة جدا from inside the question. Okay. Next question, dear students. Number 10. As a give reason. احنا لسه في give reason. Velocity and force are vector physical quantities. Velocity and force are vector physical quantities. هناك في number 9 أو في number 8 في number 9 قلنا scalar physical quantities. Definition, they identify by magnitude only. Here we should to velocity and force are vector physical quantities. So we identify what here? Or we define what here? We define vector physical quantities. What is meant by physical quantity, vector physical quantities? هقول له طبعا they identify, يبقى because they identify with magnitude and direction. يعني لما اقول velocity مثلا for example هقول له velocity 10 كيلومتر per hour مثلا northward. يعني اتحرك velocity يعني سرعة متجهة طبعا 10 كيلومتر per hour شمالا northward. يبقى we identify by magnitude and what? And direction. بالقيمة والاتجاه مع بعض. So we know here, dear students, the vector physical quantities, they identify with magnitude and direction. Okay. The body which moves in a straight line, its displacement equal its distance. طبعا we know the difference between distance and displacement. يعني لو انا جيت كده مثلا قلت distance وهنا هكتب displacement, ايه الفرق ما بينهم؟ distance يعني المسافة, هقول له ايه؟ actual length between two points. ده معنى كلمة distance. لما كلمة displacement معناها ايه؟ shortest straight line between two points. اوكي طيب انا دلوقتي لو will move from مثلا point A to point B, then I move like that. هتحرك كده مثلا, then in this direction move upward, then return back, then going to this point and then return back and go straight line to point B. لما يجي يقول لي calculate the distance يبقى لازم احسب كل ده from point A, كل دي الديستانس. انما الديسبيسمنت هي short straight line between two points. يعني we move from A to B, we calculate the distance from here, displacement from here to here. ده الفرق ما بين distance و displacement. يعني for example distance here for example 5 كيلو meters. هنا هتبقى مثلا 3 كيلو meters. طب if we return back، لو انا رجعت تاني من A من B return back to A to my bed، رجعت للسرير بتاعي تاني كل يوم بالليل هرجع لنفس المكان اللي انا قمت منه الصبح، يبقى الديسبيسمنت بتاعتي ايكوال كام؟ 0. يعني كل يوم لما الواحد يرجع بالليل ينام بنفس المكان بتاعه sleep in your bed again so your displacement equal كام؟ 0 because your starting point is your ending point but distance لا بحسب كل حاجة. يعني لو رجعت تاني هحسب اللي انا رجعته تاني هو. فin this question dear students هو في السؤال ده بيقول لي بقى، بيقول لي number 11 the body which moves in a straight line its displacement equal its distance. الديسبليسمنت بتاعته هي الديستنس. اقول له ما هو move in ايه؟ انت قلت in straight line صح؟ اقول له تمام. يبقى الانسر بتاعتي هقول له because in this case في الحالة دي بس the distance ده مين؟ the distance مالها equal the shortest straight line between 2 points. واحد يقول لي غلط wrong، انت لسه قايل من شوية ايه؟ ان ال distance actual length between the 2 points. اقول له فعلا، بس انا قلت in this case only في الحالة دي بس if you move in straight line in this case the distance هتبقى هي displacement. I hope you can understand how can we answer question number 11. Question number 12. The amount of fuel by a plane are different according to the wind direction. طبعا أكيد the fuel اللي هو الوقود the consumption اللي هو الاستهلاك of fuel of the aeroplane الطيارة are different according to the wind direction. طبعا أكيد if that plane flies against wind direction، لو الطيارة بتطير عكس اتجاه الرياح will consume هتستهلك more fuel. طبعا أو مثلا for example if the car moves in sandy road طريق كله رملة وصحراء in the desert will consume هتستهلك more fuel. يبقى why here the amount of fuel كمية الوقود different يعني according to the wind direction هتختلف بسبب اتجاه الرياح. ليه؟ هقول له طبعا because when the plane flies against wind direction لو هي بتطير عكس اتجاه الويندز اللي هي الرياح will consume هتستهلك more fuel هتستهلك وقود اكتر. يبقى we can answer by thinking نفكر بس. يبقى any object has any resistance اي مقاومة قدامه طبعا as car as plane will consume more fuel if it fly or move against another force as wind direction. Okay. Next question. That the image that formed by a plane mirror is virtual. So here we should answer what? Virtual. Virtual which means ان هو not real مش حقيقي. الصورة اللي بتتكون by a plane mirror اللي هي المراية اللي عندنا في البيت. plane مراية مسطحة as we have here to talk about the virtual image صورة مش حقيقية. Why? Because this image can't be received on a screen. ما ينفعش استقبل الصورة دي على شاشة أو على monitor. Not like your image in camera. Not like your image in أو the images in the TV television مثلا. يبقى because it can't be received on the screen. طب واحد ممكن يعني ياخد البارت دي كده this part as can't be received on a screen او on the screen ويقول لي give reason for. يعني the answer change into another question. يعني يقول لي give reason. This image can't be received on the screen. Give reason for. هقول له ليه؟ هقول له because it formed due to the أو intersection of extension of the reflected ray. يبقى نخلي بالنا if we talk about what virtual image can't be received on the screen. طيب لما يجي يقول لي can't be received on the screen why give reason for اقول له this image is formed اتكونت due to intersection واحنا عارفين كلمة intersection يعني تقاطع of extension يعني امتداد of reflected ray. Why we use reflected ray? Because we talk about mirror and the mirror reflects the light rays. المراية بتعكس الضوء طبعا as we studied before in primary stage زي ما خدنا في ابتدائي قبل كده. So we have question 15 and the answer become a question as give reason for also and we can explain why the virtual image can't be received on the screen. Okay. Question 16. Convex mirror is divergent mirror. We have two parts here to answer. عندنا جزئيتين هنا عشان نجاوب عليهم. أول حاجة mirror. Number two divergent. Mirror reflects light rays. صح؟ أقول له تمام. طب يعني إيه divergent؟ يعني بيفرق بيشتت. convex mirror. طبعا احنا عارفين الكونفكس mirror as the mirrors used in garage المرايات اللي بتبقى في الجراج او in markets في الهايبر ماركتس مثلا المرايات الضخمه دي طبعا ليها فانكشن وهنعرفها بعد شويه فبيطلع لي الايمج صغير عشان اقدر اشوف كل حاجه can we see anything behind you as the two sides cars mirrors المرايات اللي في جنب العربيه بتبقى convex mirror divergent mirror. طب هو دلوقتي بيسالني هي divergent mirror يعني ايه divergent mirror؟ اقول له يعني بتشتت الضوء. اوكي يبقى هجاوب اقول له because it separates بتشتت او بتفصل light after هقول له reflection طبعا after reflection because we have two types we have two parts mirror so we talk about reflection and divergent we can say separate بتفصل. Okay as we have another question here concave mirror is convergent mirror as solar oven اللي هو الفرن الشمسي we use concave mirror here our solar cell اللي هي الخلايا الشمسية اللي change solar energy as we studied before in fourth primary زي ما خدته في رابعة ابتدائي كده solar oven change the solar energy into electric energy or into heat energy as solar oven. تمام؟ طيب so we have two parts عندنا جزئيتين we have to answer here اقول له طبعا because it collects light after reflection يبقى we have two parts as we have mirror reflection and convergent as collects. Okay. Okay, dear students, we have to go to a little break, then we will return back again. Welcome back again, dear students. We have to complete our revision as we have to know the difference between the convergent and divergent mirror, as we have to know the difference between a concave mirror as convergent mirror and convex mirror as divergent mirror. طبعا we have two difference we have to differentiate between the types of mirrors according to the function. As we have solar oven, we use concave mirror. Why? Because it collects light rays after reflection. And we have a convex mirror, two sides car mirrors or garage mirrors. They diverge light rays after reflection. So we have to differentiate between concave and the convex mirrors, as we have to differentiate according to some kinds of problems. Distance of the object in front of concave mirror, distance double focal length or more than double focal length but less than more than focal length but less than double focal length, and so on. Okay, let's go to complete. As we have here الكويستشن قدامنا اهو. What happens، السؤال هنا قدامنا، what happens if the light ray fall perpendicular on the reflecting surface. لو نيجي على المونيتور لو سمحتوا. The light rays fall perpendicular on the reflecting surface. لو اللايت جه على reflecting surface، خلي بالنا ومش أي طريقة، قال إن هو perpendicular. تمام؟ What happens؟ الكويستشن ده احنا قلناه قبل كده في تانية إعدادي. If the light ray falls perpendicular on the plane mirror، نزل عمودي على البلين mirror. What happens؟ In this case the light will reflect on itself. لو اللايت نزل كده perpendicular يعني as a right angle on the plane surface, it will reflect on itself. And we know in this case the angle of incidence equal the angle of reflection equals 0, as we have rule number 1 or the first law of reflection say that angle of incidence equal the angle of reflection in any case, but in this case the light reflects on itself. رجع تاني على نفسه. So in this case the angle of incidence equal angle of reflection equal 0. So if light، هنا بيقول خلي بالنا what happens، يبقى الكويستشن هنا بيقول what happens if the light ray falls perpendicular on the reflecting surface. هقول له طبعا it will reflect on itself، هيرجع تاني على نفسه. طبعا why and in this case أقول له طبعا because angle of incidence equal angle of reflection equal 0 as we studied before in second prep. خدنا في تانية إعدادي الكلام ده، نرجع تاني in third prep برضو as feedback to complete our lesson as the kinds of mirrors. Number 2, the light ray falls on the center of curvature of the concave or convex mirror. هنا بيقول خلي بالنا question بيقول what happens، ايه اللي يحصل؟ The light ray falls on the center of curvature of the concave or convex mirror. لو اللايت ray عدى من center of curvature as we just remember here a concave mirror for example like that, and we have inner surface of the sphere is the reflecting surface, and here we have the principal axis, here we have center of curvature C, here we have P, pole of the mirror, and here we have F as focus of the mirror. In this case هو بيقول لي what happens if the light falls on the center or through the center of curvature. If the light falls through the center of curvature as the previous question, it will reflect on itself. هيرجع it will reflect on itself، هيرجع على نفسه تاني. يبقى it will reflect on itself as the previous question، زي السؤال اللي فوق بالظبط. But in this case the light falls perpendicular on a what reflecting surface. In the second case the light falls through the center of curvature what in concave or convex mirror. We should remember these cases, dear students. As we have number 3, the light rays pass through the focus of the mirror. لو اللايت ray passes through the focus of the mirror as we have here. يعني برضو هشتغل عليها to remember. We have concave mirror as we have the inner surface of the sphere is the reflecting surface, like that. Okay, and here we have C, center of curvature. Here we have F, focus. Here we have P as pole of the mirror. In this case, the light falls through the focus. عدى من الفوكس كده. It will reflect how? It will reflect parallel to the principal axis. خلي بالنا. If the light ray falls through the focus of the mirror, especially the spherical mirror, it will reflect parallel to the principal axis. As we have another example. If the light ray falls parallel to the principal axis, it will reflect through the focus. So here we have to answer. It reflects parallel to the principal axis. هيرجع من principal أو parallel to the principal axis. Okay. عندي هنا the light ray falls parallel to the principal axis of convex lens أو concave mirror. طبعا هنا هتفرق من كيس لكيس. لو احنا خدناه هنا كده وعملنا as we see concave mirror. concave خلي بالنا ها mirror. The first case as we have the principal axis. Here we have center of curvature. Here we have focus. Here we have pole of the mirror. Okay. If the light ray falls, as you see, parallel to the principal axis, like that, it will reflect through focus. And another case, if the light ray falls through the focus, it will reflect parallel to the principal axis. And third case, if the light ray passes through the center of curvature or falls through the center of curvature, it will reflect on itself. We have three cases. Number one, light ray falls through the center of curvature, it reflects on itself. هيرجع على نفسه تاني. طبعا we know because angle of incidence equal angle of reflection equals 0. And the second case, the light falls through what? أقول له طبعا through the focus. Yes, it will reflect parallel to the principal axis like that. And we have third case, if the light ray falls parallel to the principal axis, it will reflect through the focus. طب ما ناخد problem بالمرة على الموضوع ده كده. ممكن نقول object، ممكن نقوله هنا كده، نكتبه هنا مع بعض. اقول له كده object at distance more than double focal length in front of concave mirror. How can we determine the properties of the image in this case؟ هحدد الصفات بتاعت الايمج الصورة بتاعتي. طبعا we use in this case we should use، ده خلي بالنا احنا بنشتغل، we use the protractor as we see here and draw curve line like that. okay خلاص خلصت البروتراكتور بتاعتي. then I will use the ruler. لازم استخدم ruler. why? because we should measure the two equal distances from what to what. number one, from pole to the مثلا focus equal 4 centimeters, and from focus to center of curvature another 4. يعني start from 0 to 8 because distance from C to F equal the distance between F to P. نخلي بالنا من البوينتس دي كويس قوي. طيب اعمل ايه بعد كده؟ طبعا then I will draw a straight line like that. طبعا we use just pencil and ruler. طبعا مش colored زي ما احنا شايفين كده، بس colored هنا to describe the way of the answer. خلاص خلصت. طيب number one, we have here P, we have F, and here we have C. In this problem, the object at distance what? Distance here more than double focal length. From P to F focal length, from F to C another focal length. So object at distance more than double focal length. يعني أكتر أو after center of curvature. So the object here. And we have rule number one. Rule number one said that if the light ray falls parallel to the principal axis like that, it will reflect through focus like that. So we have to apply rule number one. Then rule number two, light ray falls through the focus like that, it will reflect parallel to the principal axis like that. So the point of intersection of the reflected ray is here. صح؟ أقول له تمام. So the image will form here. يبقى الإيمج هيتكون هنا. But the image is what? The image is inverted. الصورة مقلوبة. صح. Number two تبقى ايه؟ اقول له real. ليه real? Because it formed due to intersection of the reflected ray. Real image can be received on the screen. And number three, diminished. يعني مصغرة أو smaller than the object. And number four مكانها فين؟ Between F and C. مكانها ما بين ال C وال F. الإيمج طلع هنا في النص. يبقى we write the four properties. Number one, image is diminished. مصغر. Number two, real. Number three, inverted. Inverted يعني مقلوبة. عكسها طبعا erect معدولة. Number four, between F focus and C اللي هو center of curvature. يبقى if we remember rule number one, rule number two, and rule number three, we can answer any question. So dear students, as we see here in these cases or in this problem زي ما شفنا في المسألة اللي قدامنا دي, we have to use rule number one, rule number two, at least. يعني في students ممكن ياخد باله هنا what we didn't use rule number three as light ray passes through the center of curvature. In some cases we will use rule number three as light ray passes through the center of curvature. امتى؟ If we have object at distance less than focal length. لو الobject ما بين ال F وال P, we will use rule number one, light ray parallel to the principal axis, reflected through focus. And rule number two مش هينفع استخدمها. Why? Because we can't make light ray pass through the focus. لأن الفوكس behind the object بقى في ظهر الاوبجكت. So we will use rule number 3. هوريكم برضو problem على الموضوع ده، بس we should remember rule number 1, rule number 2, rule number 3 to answer any question on the spherical mirrors and lenses. يعني في اللينزز برضو هنستخدم الرولز دي. Okay, let's go to complete with another problem. نشوف problem تانية. المرة دي الأوبجكت in a distance less than focal length. less than focal length. يلا نشوفها مع بعض. هقول له هنا اهوت اهو object at distance less than focal length in front of what? Concave mirror. Okay. طبعا by protractor we will use to draw the curve like that. Then we will use the ruler, as you see, to draw two equal distances as P, F, and C. Then I can move the ruler to draw the principal axis. احنا عارفين طبعا ان في حاجه اسمها principal axis اللي هو straight line passes through pole and center of curvature like that. Okay. Then we have to put the object as a problem between what and what? Less than focal length. طبعا less than focal length يعني يبقى between مين ومين؟ between the center between focus and pole of the mirror as here. We have center of curvature, we have focus, we have pole of the mirror. So rule number 1 said light ray falls parallel to the principal axis, reflect through what? Focus. And we can't apply rule number 2. مش هينفع اشتغل على rule number 2. امال اعمل ايه؟ هعمل rule number 3. light ray passes through center of curvature. او معدي اللايت راي من السنتر اوف curvature كده، بس برضو touch with head of the object عند الارو كده. In this case the light ray will reflect on itself. اقول له طب تمام وبعدين انا اعمل ايه بقى؟ no intersection. مفيش intersection، مفيش تقاطع هنا اليوم مع بعض. We have to draw an extension. يبقى بعمل extension like that كده. and another extension by ruler. خلي بالنا الاكستنشن بيترسم مش انا هنا بعمله بايدي لان انا عارف انا بعمل ايه، انما احنا هنعمله ايه؟ by ruler. and the extension will make a the intersection of extension. اقول له تمام، يبقى حصل هنا، يبقى هنا الهيد of the image and this is the image. الايمج طبعا لغايه لما يوصل لغايه البرنسبل اكسس بتاعي. in this case the image is what؟ الايمج هيبقى ايه؟ طبعا we have back of the mirror. image is number 1 magnified مكبر. number 2 erect يعني upright يعني معدول. number 3 واحد يقول لي انا عايز اكتبها upright as you like، بس لازم ابقى عارف erect و upright. number 3 واحنا قلنا magnify erect. number 3 هيبقى ايه بقى؟ virtual. why virtual? because it formed due to intersection ها of extension of the reflected rays. هيبقى virtual not real. نمبر 4 مكانه فين؟ اقول له هو والله virtual يعني مش حقيقي، يعني صورة وهمية، يبقى هقول له behind the mirror. هو في حاجة ورا المراية؟ طبعا لا. يبقى لما ابص على اي ميرور خلي بالنا، والاقي ان الايمج، انا عارف ان انا نقلت على الفيرست بروبلم inverted، يبقى ريل، صورة حقيقية. ليه؟ can be received on the screen. لما الاقي الايمج erect or upright يعني صورة معدولة، يبقى دي virtual، يعني can't be received on a screen، ما ينفعش استقبلها على سكرين او زي ما بيسموها باللغة العربية حائل او يعني شيء شاشة يعني. So we have two kinds of image according to the reality, real or virtual. Okay. So dear students, here in this case we use rule number what. احنا استخدمنا هنا في البروبلم اللي قدامنا دي، استخدمنا rule number 1 and rule number 3. We didn't use rule number 2، يعني ما استخدمناش ان اللايت ray passes through the focus of the mirror. ليه؟ because the focus behind the object، بقى في ظهر الاوبجكت، فمش هينفع استخدمها. So we use rule number 1 light ray parallel، دي كده كده هنستخدمها في كل البروبلمز. reflect through the focus. And rule number 3 light ray passes through the center of curvature reflect on itself. مفيش extension، مفيش intersection. طب then we have to make extensions، امتدادات. then we can by ruler، بحط ruler وبشتغل كده لفوق هنا وهنا لفوق، we can find the intersection of extensions of the reflected light rays. In this case we can find them and we can draw the image, but the image in this case behind the mirror, and the image in this case magnified, virtual, and behind the mirror. طبعا virtual يعني not real, and at the same time is erect or upright يعني في وضعه الطبيعي معدول. Okay. Let's go to complete our questions dear students. تعالوا نشوف مع بعض بقية الأسئلة بتاعتنا. طبعا احنا خلصنا البروبلم دي ودي. هنا بيقول لي what happens if the light ray falls parallel to the principal axis of concave mirror. طبعا انتوا دلوقتي هتقدروا تجاوبوها لوحدكم بسهولة جدا. If light ray falls parallel to the principal axis, what happens in this case? انتوا هتقولوا ايه؟ ايوه it will reflect. هيرجع منين بقى؟ ايوه it reflects passing through focus. هيرجع من الفوكس. هيرجع منين؟ من الفوكس. زي ما عملنا في البروبلم اللي فاتت اهو، مشي parallel to the principal axis كده اهو، رجع passes through the focus. Okay. Number 5. If the light ray أو light rays parallel to the principal axis. بس خلي بالنا قال ايه؟ عشان ما حدش يفتكر ان هو نفس السؤال. Convex lens. In lenses we have difference because lens refract the light not reflect the light. العدسة بتكسر اللايت مش بتعكسه. like the glasses اللي هي النضارة. النضارة مش هترجع اللايت تاني، ما انا مش هنشوف بيها حاجة كده، اللايت هيعدي منها but will refract. يعني as here مثلا، طبعا احنا عندنا هنا the lens is part from two spheres not from one sphere. فانا عندي 4 equal distances مش 2 equal distances لانها part from two spheres. يعني لو انا هعمل بالرولر بتاعتي كده اهي كده، we will draw 4 equal distances، يعني 4 مسافات قد بعض. ليه؟ لان انا عندي 2 centers of curvature، 2 foci، طبعا foci جمع focus، and 1 optical center ما اسموش بول هنا. ادي 0 مثلا 3 يبقى 6 يبقى 9 يبقى 12. خلي بالنا انا عملت كل واحده قد ايه؟ 3 سنتيمتر. 0 to 3 from 3 to 6 from 6 to 9 centimeters and from 9 to 12. طبعا قبل ما برفع الرولر بتاعتي بعلم بالقلم بتاعي كده عشان ابقى عارف انا واقف فين عشان ما اتلخبطش. اوكي تمام. then I can draw the principal axis. اقدر ارسم البرنسبل اكسس بتاعي بقى، افرد براحتي بقى as you like كده. ده البرنسبل اكسس، لان البرنسبل اكسس ستريت لاين مالوش ميجر معين. اوكي باجي هنا في النص كده طبعا انا عندي اللي هو C F P F C. two centers of curvature, two foci, one principal axis, one optical center. اوكي طيب اقوم عامل ايه؟ ستريت لاين هنا كده. ده المكان او this line the light will refract on this line او when it passes through this line. خلي بالنا ان اللايت هيحصل له refraction هنا. اوكي rule number one. rule number one. if light ray parallel to the principal axis اهو parallel to the principal axis it will refract through focus. خلي بالنا مش reflect ما رجعش، هو كمل بس refract through the focus another focus on the other side. طيب بلاش دي. if the light ray passes through the ايه؟ the focus يعني عدى كده من الفوكس it will refract parallel to the principal axis. rule number 2. and rule number 3. if light ray passes through the optical center مش center of curvature مين؟ the optical center. if the light ray passes through the optical center it doesn't refract. مش هيحصل له refraction هيكمل عادي. doesn't refract. يبقى rule number 1 if light ray passes through the focus it will refract parallel to the principal axis. rule number 2 if light ray passes through the or parallel to the principal axis refract through the focus. rule number 3 if the light ray passes through the optical center it doesn't refract. طبعا الاوبتيكال سنتر دي بتبقى in front of your eye lens. هي دي اللي بتبقى النقطه اللي قدام عينينا بالظبط in the glasses في النضاره عشان اللايت ما يعملش ريفراكشن واحنا ماشيين نبقى مش شايفين الحاجه مظبوطه. اللايت هيعدي منها doesn't ايه refract. طيب لو انا رجعت بقى هنا في الكويستشن ده اللي هو نمبر 5 بيقول لي the light rays fall parallel to the principal axis. لو اللايت عدى من ال parallel principal axis بس فين بقى؟ convex lens. اقول له يبقى لينز يبقى refract يبقى it will refract ايه؟ it refracts passing through the ايه؟ the focus لان هو parallel to the principal axis. طالما هو parallel to the principal axis يبقى هو refract through the focus. Okay. Number 6. What happens if the final speed on an of an object, the final speed of an object is less than initial speed. طبعا we have final speed v2 and we have initial speed v1. If v2 less than v1, so we have kind of acceleration here. Yes, so the body will move with what? The body moves with decelerating motion or decreasing acceleration. Why? Because what? Because as we see here, because final speed مالها less than initial or starting speed. طبعا using brakes or try to stop whatever. يبقى هنا بتكلم على decelerating motion as a definition of decelerating motion or decreasing acceleration, the body or the body's speed decreasing through time unit. Okay. Problem. بيقول لي object at distance more than focal length but less than double focal length in front of concave mirror. خلي بالنا قال لي more than focal length but less than double focal length. يبقى مكانه فين؟ طبعا firstly we will use the protractor as we see here. طبعا to draw the curved line like that. Then we will use the ruler. هستخدم الرولر بتاعتي to draw what? The two equal distances. طبعا two equal distances because we deal here with mirror not lens. For example 0, 4 and 8. طبعا two equal distances. Here we have the principal axis as we see. تمام. خلاص انا خلصت بالرولر بتاعتي، اشيلها بقى خلاص كده وابتدي اشتغل على البورت اللي انا هشتغل عليه دلوقتي اللي هو المكان بتاع الاوبجكت. مكانه فين؟ object at distance more than focal length but less than double focal length. We have C, F and P. Okay, so the object between center of curvature and focus لأن هو less than double focal length and the double focal length here as center of curvature. Rule number 1 said light ray parallel to the principal axis, it will reflect passing through the focus. Rule number 2, light ray passing through the focus, it will reflect parallel to the principal axis. So the intersection of these rays is what? Is here. At the point of intersection, the point of the image. So the image is here. مكان الإيمج اهو. So image is what? Number 1. Inverted. صورة مقلوبة طبعا. Number 2. Real. طبعا احنا عارفين real because it can be received on the screen. وفي نفس الوقت ان هو is formed due to intersection of the reflected rays. Inverted, real, magnified او enlarged, مكبر. Magnified. Number 4 مكانه فين بقى؟ After center of curvature. C. Object its place is here. مكانه هنا. مكانه after center of curvature or more than double focal length. It's very easy to use your hands, your tools, dear students, to draw any kind of problems about lenses or mirrors. يعني لو mirrors or lenses, any problem. If we remember the rules, we have just 3 rules and we use 2 from them. يعني مش لازم استخدم الثلاثة. We can use 2 rules only. But we should measure 2 equal distances in mirrors and 4 equal distances in lenses. Just if we have to determine the position of the object, we can determine the position of the image. نقدر نحدد مكان الإيمج فين بالظبط. And we can we determine the position of the image, so we can determine the properties of the image. يا ترى هو ريل، بلاش ريل، نبتدي بمين؟ inverted or erect، مقلوب ولا معدول. real or virtual، magnified or diminished، يعني مكبر ولا مصغر. maybe in some kind equal to the object، يبقى اطلع بنفس السايز. number 4 its position، مكانه فين according to P, F and C. okay. in mirrors and in lenses we should use the same steps، بنفس الطريقة، ruler and protractor to draw the arc or curved line to determine the face and the back of the mirror. Okay. As we have here, object at another problem, object at distance less than focal length in front of concave mirror. طبعا less than focal length احنا حليناها مع بعض، اللي هي طبعا image behind the mirror magnified، طبعا virtual and erect. erect which means upright، يعني صورة معدولة. تمام. طيب هنا عندي another kind of problems. Car moves with the speed 40 meter per second. Then the car driver used the brakes اللي هي الفرامل to decrease the speed into 20 meter per second through 2 seconds. Calculate the car acceleration then mention its type. يعني هو عايزني to calculate the acceleration then I will mention or determine the kind of this or type of this acceleration. نوعها ايه. We have the mathematical rule as we have here as we studied before. عندنا acceleration equal v2 minus v1 over delta t. Delta t which means difference in time. Okay, so we have A equal v2 how many؟ تعال نشوف كده v2 بكام؟ 20 meter per second. يبقى 20 minus v1 equal how many؟ 40 meters per second. 40 over how many? Time t 2 seconds over 2. طبعا 20 minus 40 equal negative 20 over 2. So acceleration equal how many? A acceleration equal negative 10 meter per second power 2. So type of this acceleration is what? Is negative acceleration or what? Yes, or decreasing acceleration أو deceleration. هي. So just we remember the mathematical rule. Acceleration equal delta v which means v2 minus v1 final speed minus initial speed over what? Over delta t اللي هو time. And then we can answer the question, find the answer or the magnitude القيمة بتاعة الاكسلريشن from the طبعا لو طلعت عندي مثلا واحد يقول لي طب افرض طلعت 10 meter per second power 2. In this case we have what? ممكن اقول له positive ايوه acceleration or increasing acceleration. Which means what? The speed increases through time unit. خلي بالنا انما هنا هو ايه؟ السبيد decreases through time unit. السرعه بتقل بمرور الوقت بدليل ان هو كان 40 meter per second بقى 20 meter per second. We have a great difference between increasing and decreasing acceleration as positive and negative acceleration. Okay. Next question. A circle has circumference 20 meter and diameter equal 5 meter. A body moves around the circle 1.5 times through 3 seconds. Calculate distance, displacement, and average speed. Then average velocity. طيب واحد بيقول لي circumference. طبعا we know circumference اللي هو المحيط بتاع الدايرة نفسه. طيب we have a circle, okay, and its circumference equal 20 meter, diameter 5 meter. واحد يقول لي ما ينفعش. We should draw firstly, then we can answer. صح، لازم ارسمها. مش شرط ان by compass، لا، ممكن ارسمها عادي، بس المهم افهم الشكل ده عامل ازاي. اوكي، اهو كده، او ناخدها مثلا كده اهي. خلاص، الدايمتر بتاعها how many 5 meters. يبقى السيركمفرنس كله اهو 20 meters. الدايمتر 5 meters. The body moves around the circle، حوالين الدايرة 1.5 time. اتحرك حواليها مرة وايه ونص، يعني رجع للother part. يعني نفترض يعني if we have the body يعني start from this point A. If it moves around the circle 1.5 time, it will طبعا stop at B، هيقف هنا. Okay, distance equal how many? Equal 30 meters. واحد يقول لي عرفت منين؟ اقول له circumference how many? 20 meters. وهو اتحرك how many? 1.5 time. هنا بس نقطة time. اتحرك مرة ونص. طيب الديسبيسمنت equal how many? displacement طبعا we know the great difference between distance displacement. A to B displacement equal how many? طبعا equal 5 meters. equal how many? 5 meters. Through how many? Through 3 seconds. طبعا هنا need to calculate the average speed. Average speed equal total distance over total time. Average speed V dash equal total distance covered over total time taken. T هنا اللي هي في الأول معناها total. So total distance equal 30 meters over total time 3 seconds equal 10 meter per second. طيب الافريج velocity طبعا we know velocity V arrow معناها velocity displacement over time. We have a difference, great difference between velocity and speed. الvelocity displacement covered through time units. The displacement became ب 5 meter. Over time التايم هو مش بيتغير 3 seconds. 5 over 3 طبعا تطلع whatever ممكن بالكالكوليتر بتاعنا او كده. المهم اهو نحسبها بالكالكوليتر مفيش مشكله. 5 over 3 تطلع ب 1.7 يعني approximately كده 1.7 meter per second. So شفتوا هنا معايا الديسبيسمنت والديستانس. distance 30 meters, displacement 5 meters. Speed 10 meter per second and velocity 1.7 meter per second. طبعا عرفنا الفرق كده ان we have difference between distance displacement and speed with velocity. So dear students, here in this kind of questions, النوع ده من الأسئلة depends on your brainstorming. يعني ان انا ابقى بفكر use my hand to draw as a draft. على فكرة هنا مش لازم we use ruler 5 meters. طبعا لا، هرسم 5 meters على الورقة مش هينفع. بس to imagine how can we answer the question، عشان اتخيل الإجابة بتاعتي، ان انا لازم اعرف circumference 20 meters، body moves 1.5 time. Not in your mind, on your paper. You can use a part from your paper as a draft on the right side, on the left side, as you like. But we will use pencil or blue pen، القلم الأزرق أو القلم الرصاص بس. And I can use the draft، بعمل مسودة أو draft هامش كده ليا وبشتغل عليه. مهم ان انا I can find the answer in this type of questions. طبعا mirrors or lenses لا، we should draw, we should use 4 equal distances. خلي بالنا in mirrors and lenses some kinds of questions say focal length equal 20 centimeters. focal length equal 20 centimeters. واحد يقول لي الورقة مش هتقضي، اقول له طبعا عشان كده we use your distances. ارسم المسافات بتاعتك انت. عم يقول لي مثلا for example الديامتر equal 40 centimeters and the body at distance equal 30 centimeters. اقول له الورقه بتاعتي مش هتقضي 40 centimeters 40 سنتي ازاي؟ اقول له in this case لما يقول لي الديامتر 40 centimeters يعني من P ل C 40 centimeters والاوبجكت at distance 30 centimeters، يعني between مين؟ F and C. هو عايز يوصل لي ان الاوبجكت between focus and the center of curvature. Just like that. Then I will use my distances. هرسم 0 3 and 6 هم وهرسم الاوبجكت between F and C. هو النمبرز اللي بيديهاني just to determine the position of the object, and then I can find the position of the object, I can find the position of the image and can determine the or mention the properties of the image. Okay? Okay. طيب عندنا هنا شوية أسئلة right wrong then correct the wrong ones. يعني نصحح الغلط إذا لقيناها غلط. Number 1 زي ما احنا شايفين قدامنا بيقول لي mitotic division occurs in somatic cells. بيحصل في السوماتيك cells. mitotic ولا meiotic؟ لا، meiotic division. Meiotic division occurs in somatic cells, right or wrong؟ هقول له ايه؟ هقول له wrong. لأن meiotic which means meiosis division, and the meiosis division takes place in reproductive cells or sex cells. ممكن أقولها كده، ممكن أقولها كده. طبعا هنا ممكن we can correct by 2 ways. ممكن أقول له أخلي السوماتيك cells خليها ايه؟ reproductive cells، أو أسيب somatic cell as it is and we change meiotic with mitotic or mitosis division يعني. So if we remember, meiotic division takes place in reproductive cells in male and female, but mitotic division takes place in the somatic cells, and we know somatic cells are the all body cells except the reproductive cells. يعني bone cells، العظم، السكن، blood cells are we can call them as somatic cells. طبعا reproductive cells in male called testis and in female called ovary or ovaries. طيب number 2 mitotic division produces cells contain half the genetic material. طبعا genetic materials which means here as chromosomes. So mitotic division produce cells. اقول له تمام هو produce cells فعلا بس contain half number of chromosome او half the genetic material. right or wrong؟ طبعا هقول له هنا طبعا wrong. wrong why؟ طبعا هنا wrong اهي why بقى؟ طبعا because we can say mitotic division. هشيلها واحط مكانها ايه؟ مايوتيك. يبقى المايوتيك ديفيجن هو اللي بيطلع لي هاف نمبر اوف كروموزومز، اللي هي السبرم ان ميل والايه؟ والاوفا ان فيميل، زي ما خدناها في سكند بريب، خدناها في ثانيه اعدادي، وبنرجع تاني ناخدها في ثالثه اعدادي. يبقى we can remove mitotic, we can use meiotic مكانها، او we can remove half اقول له لا complete واخلي كلمه mitotic زي ما هي. يبقى we have two ways to correct the wrong one عشان اصلح المعلومه الغلط اللي عندي. اوكي. Third question, crossing over phenomenon. طبعا عارفين crossing over phenomenon takes place in mitosis division and takes place in first meiosis division, but in special stage called what؟ هنقراها بقى كلها مع بعضنا كده وات. هقول له the crossing over phenomenon occurs in the anaphase of first meiosis. هقول له تمام. هو ال crossing over phenomenon اوكي، ما عنديش مشكله في الفيرست مايوسيس وما عنديش مشكله في الكلام ده كله، انما عندي مشكله we have a problem here as anaphase because crossing over phenomenon takes place in prophase. First prophase in first meiosis division, not in anaphase. Okay. Number 4, meiotic division. خلي بالنا meiotic اللي هو الميوسس، mitotic اللي هو الميتوسس. Meiotic division aims to production of the gametes. gametes طبعا زي ما we studied before in second prep، خدنا في تانية اعدادي. gametes يعني half number of chromosomes، يعني sperms in male male of human طبعا، او pollen grains in male of plants في النباتات، مثلا او ova in female. طبعا كلام مظبوط. يبقى meiotic division اللي هو meiosis aims اللي هو هدفه يعني او اهدافه to produce او production of the gametes. طبعا هنا correct statement او الكلام الستيتمنت دي صح، لان الفانكشن او المين فانكشن او the importance of meiotic division، اهم حاجه في الميوتيك division ان هو produce the gametes. طبعا الجاميتس اللي هي helps in the reproduction طبعا as formation of zygote after fertilization as we studied before. Okay. هنا we have another طبعا kind of question as another give reason for تاني. بيقول لي when you look at the mirror you see your face. سؤال يعني لما بتبص في المراية بتشوف نفسك او بتشوف وجهك يعني في المراية. ليه؟ طبعا سؤال في منتهى البساطة وموجود على فكرة in the pupils book كتاب الوزارة. when you look at the mirror you see your face. طبعا هنا هقول له due to light reflection. How can we know light reflection? Because as you see and as we said before زي ما قلنا قبل كده the key inside the question مفتاح الإجابة جوه السؤال we call أو we have mirror here and we know mirror any kind of mirror reflect the light rays بيعكس الضوء. Question number 2 بيقول لي the perpendicular light ray on the object it reflects on itself. طبعا احنا we know any perpendicular light ray طبعا عمودي او with right angle 90 degree on any object or any surface it reflects on itself. بيرجع تاني على نفسه. برضو the same question we studied before in second prep as a give reason and in third prep as a give reason. Why the light ray reflect on itself. هقول له because angle of incidence angle of incidence equal angle of reflection equal 0. Just to remember يعني عشان نفتكر كده مع بعض احنا if we have a surface like that and the light ray falls perpendicular like that. لو اللايت ray نزل كده perpendicular on a surface it reflects on itself. هيرجع كده on itself. طبعا as we studied before in second prep angle of incidence is the angle between incident ray and the normal line. angle of reflection is the angle between the reflected ray and the normal line. واحد يقول لي هم فين؟ اقول له فعلا ما فيش، ده هو كلها اتقفلت على بعضها one line. So we have no angle of incidence and no angle of reflection. At the same time, first law of reflection said that angle of incidence equal angle of reflection. اقول له طبعا بس in this case only they equal 0. They equal 0. Okay. Number 3. The image that formed by the plane mirror is virtual. طبعا احنا عارفين virtual يعني can't be received on a screen. So اقول له because it can't be received on a screen. طيب give reason for this image can't be received on a screen. Why؟ اقول له طبعا لو انا اعتبرت الانسر as a give reason اقول له because it formed due to intersection of extensions. خلي بالنا عشان هو قال لي ايه virtual intersection of extensions of. طب دي mirror ولا lens؟ لا دي mirror يبقى of reflected rays. طبعا بيبقى virtual image بيبقى erect or upright بيبقى معدول، وطبعا بيبقى دايما بنقول مكانه behind the mirror يعني وهميا ان هو مكانه خلف المرآة، وطبعا مفيش حاجه ورا المرآة ولا حاجه يعني لو لفينا بصينا ورا المرآة مش هنلاقي حاجه اصلا لان هي virtual image can't be received on a screen، وفي نفس الوقت is formed due to intersection of extensions of reflected rays. Some person have short sight. يعني في بعض الناس عندهم قصر نظر. ليه؟ طبعا short sight has three reasons. ليه 3 أسباب. أول حاجة eye lens enlarge. العين eye lens أو eye ball اللي هي كرة العين نفسها بتتضخم سنة. طبعا enlarge by half او less than half millimeter يعني مش بتضخم يعني العين بتبقى ورمه، لا يعني ده المقصود يعني. يبقى some person have a short sight. هقول له اول حاجه اول reason انا عندي more than one reason هنا. eye ball enlarge. بيحصل تضخم بسيط في الاي بول. طبعا لو حصل كده، طبعا اللي بيحصل ان image is formed، الصورة هتتكون فين؟ in front of retina. تمام؟ الايمج هيبقى is formed in front of retina. الصورة هتتكون قدام الشبكية. الشبكية دي اللي هي في العين، اللي هي اسمها ريتنا، هي دي اللي الصورة لازم تتكون عليها، ولا وراها ولا قدامها. طبعا هنا نمبر 3 لازم اقولها برضو ان الاي لينز بتتشد بقى، عدسة العين، الاي لينز عدسة العين بتتشد، مش الاي بول اللي هي اول كلمة فوق كتبتها بتبقى زي ما احنا شايفين اللارج بتتضخم، فالاي لينز بتبقى مور كونفكس، بتبقى ايه؟ كونفكس. فعشان كده اللايت بيتجمع بسرعه ويبقى ان فرونت اوف ايه؟ ان فرونت اوف ريتنا. عشان كده اللي عنده شورت سايت، زي مثلا انا لابس نظاره لان انا عندي شورت سايت او شورت سايتدنس، قصر نظر، بنتعالج بأني نوع من انواع اللينزز العدسات؟ اقول له كونكيف. يعني لما هنعالج واحد عنده شورت سايت هيلبس نظاره كونكيف. كونكيف ليه؟ جيف ريزن فور. هقول له عشان الاي لينز بتاعته عدسه عينه نفسها بقت ايه؟ بقت مور كونفكس. ده اللي عنده شورت سايتدنس. العكس بتاعه للي عنده هنا ايه؟ لو انا كتبت جنبها كده لونج سايتدنس، اللي عنده طول نظر. طبعا معظم اللي بيجي لهم لونج سايتدنس بيبقى بعد الايه؟ ال40 مثلا، او بعد ال35 بيبقى نظره طبيعي طول عمره، وفجأة بيحس ان هو can see the far objects clearly، يقدر يشوف الحاجات البعيدة كويس، انما لما يجي يقرا حاجة قدامه يضطر يبعدها الايه؟ شوية كده. طبعا ده من غير نظارة، يبقى ده عنده لونج سايت. طيب اللي عنده لونج سايت ده بقى اعكس الريزنز، يبقى الاي بول مش هتبقى اللارج بقى، مش هتكبر، لا دي ايه؟ ديكريز، هتقل. يبقى الايمج فورمد ان فرونت اوف ذا ريتنا، قدام الريتنا، لا ده هيبقى ورا الريتنا. الاي لينز مور كونفكس، قالوا لا الاي لينز ليس كونفكس مش مور. طب ده هنعالجه بأنهي نوع لينزز؟ طبعا هنعالجه بايه؟ بكونفكس. ليه؟ لانه اي لينز ليس ايه؟ كونفكس. تمام؟ خلي بالنا as a compare كده سريعه between the short sightedness and long sightedness. عرفنا ما بينهم الفرق بيبقى عامل ازاي. طبعا ده lesson related to the lenses، انواع العدسات اللي عندنا. طيب هنا بيقول لي number 5 galaxies. طبعا galaxies we studied before galaxies in primary stage وin first prep، خدناهم في اولى اعدادي وخدناهم في ابتدائي قبل كده. galaxies as any galaxy group of stars gathering due to the gravity، مجموعه من النجوم متجمعه مع بعضها بنسميها جالاكسي. طبعا الجالاكسيز هنا في اليونيفرس move away from each other، الجالاكسيز بتتباعد عن بعضها. طبعا هنا why؟ هقول له because. طبعا we have theory here open universe and closed universe theory. اقول له because universe in continuous expansion، في تمدد مستمر. هنا بس عايز اقول حاجه. We have two theories dear students. As we have Big Bang theory، عندنا نظرية الانفجار العظيم، ان the universe was a very small ball. This ball explode with 1 million temperature degree after 1000 million years, formation of hydrogen and helium gases and after 3,000 million years formation of galaxies, after 5,000 million years formation of Milky Way galaxy اللي هي الجالاكسي بتاعتنا, after 10,000 million years formation of solar system, and so on. After 15,000 million years life is now. يعني الحياة بدأت, هم بيعتقدوا كده ان هي from 15,000 million years, من 15,000 مليون سنة. بس اللي يهمني بعد البيج بانج ثيوري we have two another theories to explain the future of the universe, مستقبل الكون. Number one, open universe theory, and number two, the closed universe theory. Open universe theory said that universe in continuous expansion. طب الساينتست قالوا الكلام ده بناء على ايه؟ بالمزاج؟ لا. Because the distances between galaxies increase. فعلا after يعني each 5 years, كل 5 سنين, they try to calculate or to measure the distances between galaxies, and they find فعلا ان distances between the galaxies will increase continuously. بتزيد المسافات ما بين الجالاكسيز. But another group or team of scientists said that the expansion of the universe, تمدد الكون ده, will stop and the universe will contract again. اليونيفرس هيبتدي ينكمش, او الكون هيبتدي ينكمش مره اخرى. فلما يجي في سؤال زي ده يقول لي the distance او the galaxies move away from each other, ليه الجالاكسيز بتبعد عن بعضها؟ اقول له because the universe in continuous expansion, لان الكون في تمدد مستمر. نخلي بالنا طبعا we know the universe lesson 1 in unit 3, and we have number 2, lesson 2, as we talk about the solar system only, and days, years on each planets according to the rotation around the sun and the rotation around itself. Okay, another question, dear students, here. The constancy of the earth rotation in orbit around the sun. يعني ان الثبات, constancy هنا معناها ثبات الارض في rotation around the sun. يا ترى ليه؟ طبعا any student can answer this question from prep stage or from primary stage. طبعا we know we have يعني main factor affecting the rotation of moon around the earth, or earth around the sun, or the sun around the center of galaxy, or the galaxy around the center of universe. We have main factor here. We have to talk about the gravity or gravitational force, central gravitational force of what here? Of the sun. يلا نكتب الانسر مع بعض. بيقول لي the constancy of earth rotation around او in orbit around the sun. هقول له كده لو ممكن على المونيتور لو سمحتوا. هقول له هنا due to the gravity of the sun. طبعا هنا مش شرط ان انا اقول gravity, ممكن اقول central gravitational force. طبعا according to ان الصن هي اللي عامله gravity, لان في سؤال يعني انا برضو شفته في كتاب الوزاره بيقول لي what happens if no gravity of the sun. لو الصن ملهاش gravity نقدر نقول فيه ايه؟ no gravity يبقى no solar system. no solar system. طبعا مش هيبقى فيه solar system, لان السولار سيستم كله depends on the gravity of the sun. مفيش gravity of the sun, مفيش solar system. طبعا هعيد واكرر تاني dear students, لازم نقرا ال question more than one time. Read it slowly and we can find the answer inside the question. هنلاقي الإجابة جوه السؤال. طيب هنا give reason for, بيقول لي sexual reproduction is a source of genetic variation. طبعا sexual reproduction depends on two parents, male and female. Depends on fertilization as a combination or few as a fusion between male and female gametes to form zygotes. فلما بيقول لي هنا sexual reproduction is a source of genetic variation، تنوع، بيطلع لي مفيش حد فينا نسخة او فوتوكوبي from حتى التوينز. اكيد الفينجر برينت مثلا، بصمة صباع مش زي بعض، مفيش اتنين على مستوى العالم. فهنا بيقول لي ليه بيبقى في source of genetic variation، هقول له هنا due to combination او fusion، اتحاد يعني between male and female gametes to form zygotes. طبعا هنا ال sexual reproduction depends on two parents. طبعا after this question dear students يعني we will stop today. طبعا we should differentiate between sexual reproduction and asexual reproduction. In next episode إن شاء الله we will complete our revision with other kinds of questions, and we will going through the second term questions. Today we have to stop these types of questions. That's enough today, and we will complete next episode إن شاء الله. See you soon. Thank you. Goodbye.